thought it was starting at 9:15. Sorry, CJ the Great. Apologize for all the free content. Oh, I'm gonna be salty today. I can feel it already.
Hang in there, baby. We're good. We're
I
good.
believe we are live.
It was supposed to start, but we had some issues, and we're still here. And we still go long as shit anyway. So.
Alrighty, here we go. Let's do this. It's gonna be a slow trickle in here with everybody. So. The original link is dead. I had some streaming issues right out of the gate. So it died. But we're here. Opening day of the NBA or of the MLB season, and that's not what we're talking about here. We've still got basketball. 8-game slate on a Thursday. You and I are getting a lot of games here.
Yeah. But let's just so everyone's clear. We have the MLB Live Before Lock show coming up.
Yes.
After this one as well. So
yes,
no one's getting shortchanged on their MLB content.
I wish they were.
And on MLB.com and on awesomemode.com. Can you tell I woke up?
Talking
recently?
About two sports at the same time is so hard.
Yeah, it is. On awesomemode.com, we're gonna have all the MLB content as well. The last night, dude, I actually spent a long time making my own schedule for the next 2 weeks because of how much there is. As far as the MLB deep dive, the NBA strategy show, the MLB strategy show, MLB Live Before Lock, the NBA cheat sheets, Awesemo Radio, MLB deeper dive, early bird. So just trying to put it all together, color code all of them, because the crossover is that you're not hearing any complaints from me, but I'm saying it. The crossover it's a different animal when it comes to baseball and basketball because they start right around the same time. Unlike football where it's Sunday, it's different.
It's so different. The only saving grace in any of it is that baseball is like easy to manage in that like there's not 659 scratches and stuff.
For sure, yeah.
Like you can kind of get your lineups in early and chill. And that's the only thing that's really maintaining my sanity.
Right.
All right, so let's get a couple of the housekeeping things out of the way first as I export my crunches. First and foremost, NBA Strategy is the promo code. 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose, including ones with Fantasy Cruncher. So now that we have NBA content, MLB content, you can check it all out. Use the code NBA Strategy and get 50% off. After this show, starting at 11:30 a.m., myself and EMAC will be live before lock all the way up until the first pitch and lock at 1 o'clock. We'll have some written content out on the site as well, but live before lock this afternoon coming out directly after this show at 11:30. So tune in, breaking it all down. We're going to go through everything. We'll spend a little bit more time on the late slate since there's more games, clearly, but we will be hitting the early. We'll hit it all.
Yeah, and as far as opening day goes, it's a little bit tougher because you have such the times are spread out to a pretty wild extent, right? Yeah. You got 2 at 1 o'clock, 1 at 2 o'clock, 2 at 3 o'clock, well 1 at 3, 1 at 3:30 because the Blue Jays like to do weird stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at 4 o'clock, maybe 9. It might be 9 at 4 o'clock, and then you have the 7 p.m. game as well. So it's a little different, which is why I'm saying Adam and I will have the NBA deeper dive tonight, which obviously makes a lot of sense, Josh, because there's only one 7 p.m. baseball game,
and
then everything. What's that?
Thank God.
Yeah, right.
Because if there was like 6 of them today, I'm not sure I would have made it through.
Yeah, that'd be tough. But then everything changes after that because you start to get it balanced out a little bit, and then we have a good week of crossover.
Yeah, we do. I'm not gonna lie. I'm incredibly excited for there to be 0 crossover.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be thinking that Giannis is playing short for the Brewers and all sorts of dumb stuff. Also, kudos to me for getting that reference correctly and getting 2 Milwaukee teams.
Not bad.
Yeah,
Not bad, sir.
that wasn't intentional. That just worked out as well as it did.
Oh, that was not intent. That was
I mean, I
intentional.
guess,
It was
subconsciously it was.
subconscious.
Yeah.
That was subconscious. That was I was subconscious.
I'll take what I can get.
Hey, man. Why not?
You ready to talk some basketball?
Yeah, of course.
Glad one of us are. First game up, it's a doozy. Really, really fun DFS game. The Detroit Pistons are hosting the Orlando Magic. 105 implied total for the Pistons. 101.5 for the Magic. Both teams fantastic defensively as of late. This is a slog of a game. Very much a defensive matchup. Both teams are incredibly hard to handicap outside of their big men. So let's start on the Pistons side. How are you feeling about Andre Drummond, 8,600 on DraftKings, or Blake Griffin, for that matter, who had a little bit of a renaissance in his last one?
Yeah, so this game's actually kind of interesting. I agree. It's not beautiful, but a couple things stand out. First of all, this is what makes it interesting to me. The Pistons are 37 and 37 in the East, Josh.
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. Magic 37 and 38. The Heat are 36 and 38. So they're one game behind them, behind the Pistons for 7th. And then the Hornets are 35 and 39. If the Pistons were to lose 2 straight, mind you, they were just on a 4-game West Coast road trip. They lost 3 of 4. The only team they beat was the Phoenix Suns. If they were to lose 2 straight here, they've got the Magic tonight, who are playing very well. Then they have the Blazers, the Pacers again, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, then the Hornets, and then the Grizzlies and Knicks. That's how they close their season out. So the Hornets, if the Hornets were to win 2, they could move from 10th into the playoffs. The Pistons could finish as far down as 10th in the division. Huge game right now.
Yeah.
Really big game. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing Blake Griffin potentially stepping it up. I mean, there was a lot of talk, especially, with a lot of these Detroit Pistons beat writers and such, talking about him being fatigued. Well, I don't know if he was and he got a little bit of rest and he feels better. That could be the case. But he's definitely looked more imposing recently. He's got 24 plus real points in 3 straight games. He's still below 8K on DraftKings. And he's still dishing out a lot of assists. I think Griffin is an interesting play here. And I would assume that his ownership stays, relatively low, just because he hasn't been popular at all lately. Nobody's really been on Blake Griffin. Do we have it updated? Not yet.
We do not.
Not yet.
I got 0 on both sites, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's not that high.
Right. And me too. But really, it's a huge game, and I think the additional minutes, which should be there for Blake. Like, I think, look, if this game's close, and it should be, because the Magic are now in the 8th seed, the Heat in the 9th seed, and the Magic are a half game behind the Pistons. If Blake played 38 minutes in regulation, it wouldn't be surprising at all.
No, not at all. I mean, all of the guys that get minutes should see more minutes in games like this, or at least that's the expectation.
Yeah, Blake Griffin or Blake Drummond, Vooch. Yeah. It's not a good matchup for any of them. Orlando's defense has played great, and Detroit's defense isn't terrible. They're a slower paced team, but I guess when you're looking at some of the price points, like Drummond at 86, Vooch at 85, Blake at 79 on specifically on DraftKings, they all make sense. It's just once we get to some of these other games, you'll see why Josh and myself probably didn't end up with much of them running crunches here. But I do think they'll be very low owned, and huge minutes should be on the table.
Yeah, like for the Pistons, the most I got of anything on either FanDuel or DraftKings is 4% Drummond.
Right.
I don't have anybody higher than that. And on Orlando, I have 13% Gordon on FanDuel, 13% Vooch on DK. Kind of have a little bit less of both of those guys on the opposite sites, and I don't have the rest of Orlando. It's just between the super low implied total, the defensive ratings over their last 15 games, the pace, it's just on an 8 game, like if this were a 3 gamer, it's a much different story. On an 8 gamer, there's just too many better places. Like there's a Pelicans Kings game that might have my entire lineup.
Yep. No, look, I agree with you. I just wish I kind of did
Yeah.
have more because look, the narrative going into these like the playoff narrative, it's not a narrative as much as it is a fact. Like they have to get big minutes. There's no reason not to. They need to win. Um, it is important, but they're not the only team that's fighting for a playoff position. And Brooklyn and Philly are, Miami is, the Clippers are. I don't know what you do with the Bucks right now, but Denver is, Houston is, San Antonio. So a lot of teams are, but Detroit right now is kind of in dire straits. They need to win a game.
They do indeed. God, the bottom of the East is garbage.
Crazy.
Just talking about a bunch of like sub 500 teams and how they're fighting for the ability to get their ass handed to them in the first round of the playoffs.
I know
by the Bucks or the Raptors or something.
It's so true, right?
Yeah.
Now we want to lose in 4 games. Now we want to get swept.
Yeah,
I know.
They're going to take a beating one way or the other.
Playoff tickets sell, bro.
They do indeed. Yeah, I don't have anything else here. I'm not going to get a lot of volume. I would never talk anybody out of having Drummond or Vooch, Blake, or Aaron Gordon in their lineups, but there is no sort of volume plays in this game, in my opinion.
No, I'm with you. I again, just Drummond. I will have some Drummond at that price. I will have some Vooch at that price on DraftKings. I will have potentially a little bit of Blake, not a lot. I think right now I have about 5% Blake, but I did come up with a decent amount of Vooch and Andre Drummond on DraftKings where they're very cheap. We'll get to my Embiid exposure later, but
if anybody's going to expose themselves to Embiid, it's probably you.
Oh yeah, happily. But put it this way, the front court is where I'd be looking here, and I don't think you'd blame anyone if you saw that a tournament winning lineup had either Vooch or Drummond in it tonight. You wouldn't be surprised. I think that's probably a good way to look at it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like they are good plays in general. It's just that one, we already know what kind of value exists at the center position, especially with these guys being center only. They have ceilings, it's clear, but they're just sort of muted a bit because of the game script that we would expect.
Can I ask you how many minutes you have? I don't want to jump into what minutes do you have him at or him at?
Sure.
But it's kind of important for this one. What do you have Drummond and Blake at?
35 and 34, but I might go a little bit higher to like 37, 36 or something.
You have 34 on Blake?
I do.
Okay.
He had been playing less as of late. Now that I see that he played 38 in the most recent game, I think that I can bump that back up. He went on that stretch and then missed that game for rest. So I started
right
backing that back off. But now that we're talking about it and like this game isn't a pushover game, so to speak.
Yeah. I'm not far off from you. I have 35 and 35 for both.
I'm giving I'll give Drummond an additional minute over Blake.
And
he tends to play more when it matters.
Right. But I have Vooch at 34.
I have Vooch at 35. So we're all in the same sort of area. Those minutes do become important though for these guys. When you're a 1.3-ish fantasy point per minute guy, a minute swings a lot.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. That's why I'm asking you right out of the gate, because when you've got guys that are 85 and 8,600, an extra minute that could bump them from 46 to 47, 48 fantasy points can make a pretty big difference.
Yes, it can. It swings massively.
Yeah.
So I got 13%, or I got 1% Drummond before, or like after I ran my crunch, I got 13% Vooch. He was like slightly behind him. Now it's probably going to be like 8 and 8. I'm cool with that.
Okay. I'm around 20 and 22.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm a bit higher than you are. Now, granted, it's still very early, and as we go through the show, there's tweaks that I'll make to it.
Same.
But as of now, I have Drummond and Vooch at those prices projected, in the high 40s, which center is not horrible today at all, but I can also play most of the centers that I really like, or not all of them, but like I can play a bunch of them at power forward,
Yep.
which I think is why I'm probably getting a good amount of Vooch and a good amount of Drummond. Not to mention that Vooch is the cheapest he's been in God, how long? I mean,
A long time.
right? I mean, look at his pricing over the last 92, 92, 93, 92, 2, 95, 96, 92, 89, 85 at Vooch. No matter who he's facing, that's a discount. Plus, he's lost minutes in some blowouts lately. Let's not forget he's going to play 34, 35 minutes in regulation if it's close.
You
Yeah,
you would expect. I don't think they're clamoring for more Kim Birch.
Right. I have a decent amount of Vooch, yeah.
Okay. I think that's probably it for this game. I can't really recommend the spare parts in this one.
No.
Alrighty. Well, the floor is about to be yours. And I'm going to have to clearly make some updates because there's no way this is accurate. The Philadelphia 76ers are hosting the Brooklyn Nets. 117.75 implied total for the Sixers. 109.75 for the Nets. Massive pace up spot for Philly. Brooklyn defense is solid, but this is going to be a real quick affair. Let's start with Joel Embiid, 11-4 on FanDuel, 10-4 on DraftKings. Talk to me about the second best offensive center in basketball.
Like I said, you will not get me to entertain that. I refuse.
That's fine. When Jokic gets first team All NBA, it won't matter to me anymore.
All right. Well,
because he's certainly not getting it for his defense.
No, he's not. He's not.
Did you see the play last night that was on House of Highlights with Jokic? I don't mean to
That's okay. Go ahead.
He was just dribbling behind his back, like trying to shake someone down, gave it back up, got into the pick and roll, did like a fake behind the back pass to lay it up, and then Plumlee hammered. It was just gross.
I didn't, but
the level of ball handling and court vision for him is just.
He's awesome.
You don't realize it sometimes, and then you're just like, "Holy shit! How is a man that big doing those things?"
He's phenomenal.
The only reason I thought about it is because I saw it on the can like a half hour before we started the show.
Did you see why Jordan Bell got suspended for a game?
I know that it was conduct detrimental to the team. I don't know what he did.
Okay, but you didn't see the reason for it, right?
I just assumed that he retweeted Draymond Green's dong pic or something.
Oh no! You're gonna like this. So Jordan Bell got suspended by the team for, drumroll please, putting hotel charging stuff from a hotel to the Golden State Warriors assistant coach's account. Now, you may say, wait, what? Was it a joke? What did Mike Brown do to him? Here's the crazy thing. They have evidence that this was not a first-time offense. So Jordan Bell has apparently been going to hotels and charging stuff to Mike Brown's account, and it isn't the first time he did it. That's really weird. Really weird.
So food and porn, I guess, basically.
I mean, here's what I was thinking.
I mean, there's only three options: food, alcohol, and technology. So
right, exactly.
Movies of some sort.
Right.
Whether they're nude in them or not is irrelevant.
Delicious room service.
Yeah.
Or
massages, maybe. I don't know, but you would think that could be covered by the team.
Right. You got one of those weird remotes, that they didn't say what the charges were, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually what it was. Yeah, that's the first thing that popped into my mind too. But tell me that's not really strange.
That's super bizarre. I hope when they asked him about it, he was like Chappelle and his special. Sorry, I didn't know I couldn't do that. Yeah. Oh God. All right, talk to me about Embiid. That's super weird. What is he thinking?
I know. It's really, really weird. And the fact that they knew it was him further kind of proves that this was not a one-time. I don't know. It's just really weird.
He's clearly not really close with any of the stars on the team then.
Right. Well, apparently him and Kerr have had some recent issues,
I bet.
Pretty sure he wants to play more and whatever. But anyway.
You got that's some balls to be like, I don't think I'm playing enough. We've won 3 out of the last 4 titles. I think I've got this locked down.
Right? right? So
Get in line, my man.
Joel Embiid is in a really good spot. I mean, you're talking about a Brooklyn Nets front court defense that has just been pulverized. I mean, it just we saw. By the way, JaVale McGee's been amazing lately.
Dude's
Even yesterday, he
ridiculous.
dropped like 16 and 14 on Utah. Man, give it up for Big JaVale. He used to be the king, the feature actor on Shaqtin' a Fool, and now look at him. Now look at him. What a stud.
He's a completely different person in the NBA now.
He is.
He's
So
nobody even remembers that he was crazy. Like
I know.
crazy for
Wild.
like a while.
I know.
He played
So
his way almost out of the league.
right. Damn right. Hassan Whiteside was basically cast off,
Yeah.
cast out of the league.
Getting cast back out of it again now, too.
Yep, I know. So, okay, check this out. Joel Embiid, since the deadline, since Tobias Harris came over, has a 33% usage rate. The next closest player on the team, Josh, is Ben Simmons at 19%.
Eee.
All right. The next closest player is Ben Simmons at 19%. So there's that. Now, you have rebounding rate, 22.5% since the deadline. 13, so basically 14% assist rate, which actually is not bad given all the giving all the players on this team. 1.56 fantasy points per minute. Okay. All of that's pretty solid. Now just introduce the matchup with the Nets. That's since the deadline with everybody, not in a matchup with the Nets. I don't know how. And by the way, the Sixers definitely need to win. They blew games to Atlanta and Orlando, and now they got Brooklyn and Milwaukee coming up. Brooklyn's played them very well, and Milwaukee's very good, probably looking for a little bit of revenge after that home loss. So they need this win. I think the Sixers do win this, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win handily. But I love Joel Embiid at 10-4 on DraftKings, 11-4 on FanDuel. I have no problem with that either. But on DraftKings, yeah, Joel Embiid's amazing.
I made some changes to rates while you were talking just to make sure that I'm not totally crazy because I got really wonky stuff on my first crunch.
Were you not getting any Embiid?
All right, let's see. I have everything updated now. So I have 0 on DK.
That's honestly, that's very surprising to me.
And
I don't know how you
on
can come
FanDuel.
up with 0.
Yeah, neither do I. That's what I'm trying to look into. 34 minutes. I've got him at 1 point. I mean, this is going to be different, I'm sure. I have him at 1.57 fantasy points per minute. And he's been
you have him at his
higher than that over the last 30.
That's what his per minute average is since the deadline, but not factoring in the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is just buoyed on like hot shooting. Like I have Wowie up. I have, since February 8th, I loaded in all of his pertinent rates. The only things that I don't ever touch are like field goal percentages. He's been at, where are you hiding? Yeah, 1.54. So I'm slightly ahead of what he has been on FanDuel. I expected it to be a bigger boost. I have his like usage rates at 32 and change. Just under the 33% number that he's been at since the deadline. I'm not upset about it, but I'm super worried about it. Like, there's nothing that I can do to change it other than fix it because it's making me uncomfortable.
Right. Yeah, I gotcha. I got a lot of them.
Yeah, I do not blame you. If you look at it, you just immediately think, I would like to have a lot of Joel Embiid here.
It's just because in this, like, I have him projected at 34 minutes.
Same.
Again, facing Brooklyn. Pace up spot. We don't have a total on this one yet, but
I have 227.5 Philly by 8.
Okay, I have Philly by 7.5, but I don't have a total yet. So either way, it's going to be a fast-paced game. It's going to be a lot of scoring. I mean, I don't need to go much further with it. I will say this too. I think Ben Simmons is interesting. He's $8,300 and on DraftKings, on FanDuel, you know, you're a few of these guys are gonna be priced up. Ben Simmons on FanDuel is the most expensive point guard at 9,800, but 83 on DraftKings against the Brooklyn Nets team that I just don't think can protect the paint. I don't think they have the personnel to be able to close him off and keep him from getting to the rim. It is a spot where I don't mind Ben Simmons whatsoever. Now it's 8 games. I don't think you need to play both of them together, but I do see Ben Simmons as someone that at a discounted price point that's probably going to play another 35, 36 minutes. That's a little bit too cheap for him.
I have 0 Ben Simmons.
Yeah,
I
you
do
don't
have
have
50%
much.
Jimmy Butler, though.
I have 14% Ben Simmons, 48% Embiid, and no one else from the Sixers, 1% Tobias Harris, and I'm very happy with it because I was hoping I would not get any Jimmy Butler or Tobias,
I
honestly.
wouldn't have expected to get 50.
Yeah, that to me is insane.
I agree. I look, I have him at 1.13 fantasy points per minute, 36 minutes.
I mean, with Embiid on the floor since the deadline, he is under a fantasy point per minute.
They stagger more than anybody, though, right?
They do, but I don't know how much you can stagger tonight if Embiid's going to play around 35.
Right.
Like, how much can you really stagger them? You will see some staggering, but I don't know, 5 minutes?
We'll have to look
I mean,
into
I
it a
could
little
be
bit more.
wrong. I just don't think
Yeah,
I
look,
don't think
I obviously don't want 53% Jimmy Butler. I don't think that's terribly shocking. The Embiid one, like on the surface, I don't love it. But, you know, if Drummond's 8,600 and Vooch is 8,500, like, do they really have all that different ceilings if they're $2,000 cheaper than him?
Uh,
That's a really big gap.
I mean, Embiid's got a 75 and a 79 just over his last 4 games. So, yeah, there's a bit yeah. Embiid can go for 40 and 20. Like, I'm not saying he will, but he can, you know,
Sure.
well, actually, he just went for 37, 22. The game before that was 40 and 15. He's an elite shot blocker.
Yeah.
I think Embiid, as far as ceiling goes, could drop 80 on you.
What do you have Embiid projected for?
I'll tell you right now. Hold on.
And then tell me what you have Vooch and Drummond at.
I have Embiid at 57.
Okay. I have him at 53.7.
Okay.
So I could it wouldn't take a lot of massaging to get him up another point or two.
Okay. I have Drummond at 47.5.
Basically the same.
And I have Vooch at 47 even.
Basically the same.
Okay.
So, I mean, the story here is how we feel about those projections relative to those price points. I give a little bit more credence to the 85 or to Vooch and Drummond's price tags, and you're probably looking a little bit more at Embiid's ceiling.
Well, hold on a second. I still have more Vooch and Drummond than you do. I have a decent amount of both, and I still have a good amount of Embiid.
Oh yeah, I was just naming like other quote unquote high end.
Oh, I hear. No,
I have a ton of dudes ahead of Embiid, like Siakam, Marc Gasol, Julius Randle.
Well, Siakam's
Kelly
power
Olynyk.
forward eligible, so that doesn't count. Randle doesn't count.
I mean, it doesn't count. How does it
What?
not count?
Because you don't have to play him there.
Yeah, but I'm playing them anyway.
Right. What I'm saying is you can literally play them at like 8 other positions than there. Like, how many only center eligible guys do you have ahead of Embiid?
I don't know. Is Marc Gasol just center eligible?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Marc Gasol. Probably Mitchell Robinson, but I don't know if he is. I assume Aldridge is power forward.
Aldridge is powerful, yeah.
Okay, so he doesn't count. Vooch, Jared Allen.
Center, yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I'm just basically, I guess the moral of this story is I'm paying up at guard positions today,
All right, sounds good to me.
and I would rather be you than me here.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Really, it's good. By the way, I have a ton of Giannis, a ton. So it'll be fun to see where we end up here. We'll go ahead and keep moving with it. But as of now, it looks like I'm getting a lot of stars and scrubs that I don't feel particularly great about, but we'll get to it. There are a few cheap guys that are going to open things up a lot.
Apparently, I'm just paying down for everybody today. Here's the top of DraftKings right now. You ready?
For you, you're saying.
For me, Giannis, 0. Harden, 1. Embiid, 0. Jokic, 0. Russell, 0. Drummond, 1. That's the first 6 guys in salary.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. How much Ian Clark do you have? I'm serious.
33%.
Okay. You have 33% Ian Clark.
Yeah.
That's good. I wasn't sure if you accidentally had him projected wrong.
No. I mean, I have 70% Kyle Lowry. I have 58% Moutier.
Fully 100% balanced. Like you have not. That's so weird, man.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I have a few guys that I don't feel great about, and as far as value goes, that are sprinkled in there. You know, there's some Kadeem Allen. There's a few guys that I don't love, but I still have a good amount of Giannis, a good amount of Embiid, Drummond, Vooch. Interesting. Where are you? Wait, by the way, where are you at on Brooklyn?
Do
you have D'Angelo Russell?
Nope.
No?
No.
No Russell?
No. No.
Okay.
Why would I want that?
I don't know.
I'm just gonna keep playing all these other guys that we're not talking about.
Right. By the way, I have 20% Harden too. So our lineup construction, just by the way, it's very early and
Yeah, and I haven't added ownership in, which is a piece of my ranking, so this will change its shape a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that out yet? I assume it's not. Yeah, it's not. I have 10% Jared Allen on DK, 20 Dinwiddie.
Okay. I don't mind Dinwiddie at all. I don't really have any, but I don't mind him at all. And Jared Allen, I didn't get much of. I'm going to throw this out there. I think Jared Allen runs the risk of starting to lose minutes. Now, I'm not saying it'll happen. It's just an observation of mine. Nets Twitter, and I mentioned this on the Early Bird podcast. Yes, there is actually a Nets Twitter. It exists.
Go Swamp Dragons.
Yeah. They really want some more Ed Davis.
Who doesn't?
Right. And Kenny Atkinson had really not been giving him much run. But now over his last 2 games, he played 20 and then he played 24. Granted, that was a double overtime game. I understand that. But Ed Davis is getting more minutes than he had been. He hadn't played 20 minutes since March 6th. So Ed Davis is really, really, really cheap. If you do need value here and Jared Allen comes out and just gets pummeled by Embiid early on, I wouldn't be surprised to see Ed Davis get some extended run off the bench here. Obviously, it's a risk, but at how cheap he is, I don't think it's crazy. I mean, Jared Allen to me is just not someone right now that I want to get to. And the reason for that is, dude, truthfully, I would rather play a similarly priced Bam Adebayo who's getting 30 minutes. That's how little confidence I have in Jared Allen right now.
Oh, that's weird. I mean, I don't have a problem with Bam or anything. I don't have any interest in Ed Davis outside of just random throw-ins. He's still just playing, at best, the alternate minutes to Allen.
Yeah, well, I'm more talking about the fact that I worry about Allen, that we could start seeing more minutes for Davis. that I wouldn't be surprised if because Allen defensively has been getting killed. We saw what Nurkic did to him. We saw what McGee did to him. You put anybody up against him, and he's just getting lit up. So I don't know if we're going to start seeing some wholesale changes in the front court. We might not. I could be completely off base, but if we do, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I just they don't. It doesn't strike me like they're ever going to give Ed Davis more than just sort of the 20-minute rotation.
Maybe not. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible.
I want them to. I like Ed Davis. I end up on him on the right slates at power forward on FanDuel pretty regularly.
Yo, I got a mattress coming in a box today, bro.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, pretty sweet, huh?
You about to do a Casper mattress read or something?
No, I just saw that it was on its way. They sent me a text,
Oh,
and I'm
nice.
pretty stoked about it.
I've got 3 new non-stick pans coming in a couple days too. Look at us
My
getting
man.
fun stuff.
My man.
Household wares.
This thing better be good, man. It was they do not go easy on you. I mean, they take you for what you're worth when it comes to these mattresses.
You don't even want to know how much I spent on my mattress.
Well, we're probably in the ball. The problem is it's a king, so they always get you. They're like starting at, and it's the twin.
I just messaged you.
Oh yeah, that's absurd. I would never spend that much on a mattress.
I'm not kidding either.
Never.
I knew I knew that I would be right there, or you were getting like exactly the same thing that I did.
That's ridiculous. Now look, we spent a lot on this.
Yeah,
but
yeah. There's a range below that where I was just like, oh, that's a lot for a bed.
That's crazy.
Yeah. To be fair, now we bought it as our anniversary gift 2 years ago for ourselves,
dude.
And I'll tell you what,
people
I
are
would
gonna
do it again too. It's awesome.
People are gonna get pissed. We're talking about mattresses, but
Yeah.
that much money on. I'm a fan of splurging. I always have to convince Justine that, like, no, we're not getting the cheap one. We're gonna have this for this long. We're getting the better one. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be pissed you didn't get the good one.
Yeah.
Later,
I spend more time in that mattress than I'll spend anywhere else.
That is actually very true.
People will spend more on a car.
Well, I was gonna say you spent. There are probably in this country, I'd say 80% of people that drive cars spent less on their car than you.
I spent less on my car.
You spent less on your car than your mattress.
Yes.
Jeez. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And I don't drive like an 87 Oldsmobile or anything either. I have a Prius.
That mattress better come with a hand and
oh, it sits up for you. It vibrates. It's incredible.
Wow. No D'Angelo Russell, huh?
No D'Angelo Russell. And that's our read.
He's been gnarly, man. This guy's been insane lately. I fault nobody for rostering D'Angelo Russell today, producing huge numbers. Now, I will say, you know that I obviously have a lot of the high price centers, some Giannis, some Harden. I don't have a lot of Russell at all, but he's just been so good recently that I understand it entirely. I think Dinwiddie, though, Josh, makes for a good pivot. He hasn't been great, but he's getting huge minutes. The lack of peripherals has kept his totals down, but it's not like Dinwiddie can't come out, give you a 5 rebound, 6 assist game. It's very possible.
Sure.
And he's dirt cheap now, 5,400 on DraftKings, 58 on FanDuel. I don't mind Dinwiddie one bit.
Yeah, that price tag on DraftKings is just so appealing. 5,400. If he gets 30 minutes, if this game stays close, this is tailor-made for him. So I like using him as a value play. Now, if his ownership comes out and it's 30, then I'm not as interested. But for right now, yeah, Dinwiddie and Jared Allen. A little bit of Jared Allen. I don't want it to sound like I'm getting like 87% Jared Allen like I am Jimmy Butler. This game is the one that stands out to me most after I took a look at everything. Like, wow, I'm really missing a lot of exposure here.
Yeah. Agreed.
And look, it's as you and I both know, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. This will look different.
It will absolutely
positive of it.
Yep. And if news rolls in, like starters or this guy. I'm going to be changing minutes to a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
And as you said earlier, 1 or 2 or 3 minutes can make a very big difference on a lot of players.
Yeah, it really can, especially in a game like this. Up tempo. Embiid is a 1.5 plus guy. Simmons, Butler, Harris, all around a point per minute. So like moving those guys around, you get a lot of swings. It's not like if you add an extra minute to Mike Scott at 0.6 and no one notices.
Right.
40 minutes in, we've done 15 minutes on Pistons Magic, the worst game on the slate. We've done 15 minutes on Sixers Nets, which we certainly should have. And we've done 10 minutes on mattress purchases.
Well, let's move it along then, guy.
We are great at this. On really opening day of MLB. Unbelievable. Miami Heat hosting the Dallas Mavericks. 108 implied total for the Heat. 100.5 for the Mavericks. 7.5 point favorites here for Miami. Josh Richardson questionable. Justice Winslow questionable. I left Winslow out because he's just been out. I'm not putting any... Now that we're at this point of the season, I'm not putting anybody that's been out in until they're in.
Right.
I'm a little nervous about that for the Heat. Winslow was close, I think, in that last time out. I have Richardson in. He tends to play through everything, but who knows? So you can flip-flop those guys, and I don't think it really changes the outlook of the Heat all that much. There's a couple guys I'm looking at here for Miami. I'm getting way more Kelly Olynyk than I would have expected. 4,700 on FanDuel, 4,900 on DraftKings. I do have a little bit of Dragic. I have a little bit of Waiters. Derek Jones is functional as a punt on FanDuel, but we don't need to talk about him as like an actual play. I thought I'd get more Bam, especially at 5,800 on DK, but it's this stupid center position, man. There's too many guys. There's just too many guys. So well, I don't get to Bam, but I understand why he would be a good play considering they've sort of banished Whiteside.
Well, the biggest reason is he has power forward eligibility. So, Bam at power forward to me is perfectly reasonable. And I'm looking through it now because I did get a decent amount of Bam in these initial crunches. And every lineup that I have Bam has him at power forward.
Okay.
Not even in the utility, not even in the flex at power forward, because all of these lineups, not all of them, but most of them have two center only guys at obviously center and then at the flex. Yeah, that's definitely making a difference there. So I don't mind Bam here. If he gets another 30 plus minutes, then I'm on board. I mean, think of it this way.
What did you give him?
In minutes?
Yeah.
I gave Bam 30 minutes.
Okay. I have him at 28 right now.
Okay. Yeah, he's played 30 and 35. I don't remember if one of them was overtime, but even if it was,
the 30 was not the 35, or the 35 was not.
35 wasn't either.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean
overtime was on. No, they didn't. They haven't had overtime recently.
Yeah, so that's good enough for me. Whiteside caught two fouls in early in the second quarter. He only played. Did Whiteside play 5 minutes in that game, or is popcorn machine messing up? He did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. On the 23rd. Yeah, he played 5 minutes. He played 5 minutes on the 18th too.
Yep. I'm not giving Whiteside 5 minutes, but I am giving Bam 30. And if I give Bam 30, this guy has been a pretty decent per minute producer on the season. DraftKings 1.04 DraftKings points per minute this season. So, across 30 minutes, even if you keep it at that, you're getting a decent game from him here.
I'm going to end up probably on a little bit more Bam on purpose.
Yeah, I don't think he's a necessity by any means, but I also think he's a pretty strong play if you need someone in that range. Mainly because he's power forward eligible. Again, that's big.
It's just another spot where I know Dallas's defense isn't fantastic, but this is another low total game. It's not fast, and I'm just getting to more of other games that I think are a little bit more fantasy viable.
Yeah. Oh well, this game as a whole, I don't have much love for. I mean, Luka at this price is ridiculously cheap.
Yeah.
84 on DraftKings. I honestly don't care who he's facing.
Yeah.
I really don't. Luka at 8,400 is in play to me, but the rest of the game
I have a little
outside of,
Jalen Brunson on DK.
do you?
Yeah. I don't know why.
I don't think I do.
And then Maxi is the flat min on Yahoo, so just to point that out. It's super weird. Be clear here.
Yeah.
It's not like he's been gone for a while or something.
No, it is kind of weird. But Bam's the one guy I have a decent amount of, and then some Doncic, but that's pretty much it for me.
Okay. I'm gonna run a crunch again to see if I like copied in the wrong shit the first time. I'm getting guys that I don't normally get. It makes me feel like in my haste that I made a mistake.
Let me ask you this: what do you have? How many minutes do you have Doncic playing today?
34.
Okay.
And I'm not really comfortable with that. I just don't know what they're doing. If the game stays close, I think that he can play 36. I don't get the sense they're going to push him as hard as they have to, but that's just me putting my own thoughts on it.
I think it's fair. But yeah, that's what I have from this one. If you have anything else, go for it. But I'm pretty much wrapped up on Miami, Dallas.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Knicks and Raptors. I'm not going to be wrapped up on this one. So 102.25 implied total for the Knicks. Terrible defense. 113.75 for the Raptors. Good defense. Neutral pace matchup, but the key piece here, no Kawhi Leonard. So we've got the Knicks. They are walking wounded. Kevin Knox is questionable. Still no DSJ. He's doubtful. Who else is out for the Knicks? Trier out. Moutier. Nope, not Moutier. God, see, this is me thinking about baseball now. I'm frying my brain.
Did you say Vonleh yet?
Vonleh is the name I'm looking for.
There you
Needed
go.
somebody's name that ended in A. Also out. So I'm getting a ton of Emmanuel Moutier on DraftKings.
Yeah, so am I.
5,700. His price tag's appealing. He's, I assume, placed. I have him in for 34 minutes right now. They just don't have enough bodies.
I don't feel good about it, but there's
Emmanuel Moutier.
Yeah, I'm not getting away from it. I can tell you that right now. I would have to do a lot to get away from Moutier. Like, I would have to just go in and, like you said, I'd have to go in and just manually adjust everything because I don't want him in there.
Right.
But really, if you take everything here, like on a per minute basis, he's been right below 1 fantasy point per minute on the season, 0.98 fantasy points per minute. Yeah, you take the matchup, it's difficult, but then you factor in there's no Tim Hardaway, there's no Enes Kanter. He's playing out there with a bunch of scrubs. He's going to get work. And if you look, his last 3 games, 19, 21, and 17 field goal attempts, 34, 34, and 35 minutes. It's significant. It's definitely significant. I have him at 35 minutes. Even if I put him at 34, there's no way that I don't get Moutier. And it's unfortunate because it's scary, but he is going to be one of my higher owned players.
Yeah, it's never an appealing spot. I'm getting a little bit of Mitchell Robinson, 4,400, just on the.
Do we know if Trier is out?
I think he's like out.
Wait, he is?
I mean, I'm positive he's out for today.
Okay, that's what I was at.
You're right. I don't think that he's going to be back.
I wanted to make sure that. Yeah, you're right. He's actually out. And Kevin Knox is questionable.
Yeah,
okay.
And that one will really mess stuff up.
And DSJ's doubtful. Ntilikina is still out. Okay, just wanted to make sure there. Yeah, so Moutier, I think Kadeem Allen gets some good minutes too, but obviously not playing. I don't want to play him alongside Moutier.
He is not necessary yet, but he could be, depending on if Knox ends up out. Not that that's like a direct impact to Allen. It it moves the
They're
deck chairs around.
even more
It's just more
shorthand.
minutes. Yeah. Yeah. So a little bit of Mitchell Robinson. He's $2,000 cheaper on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel.
Crazy.
4,400. Like if he happens to play, 22 minutes or something happens to DeAndre Jordan, like he's gonna smash 4,400.
Yeah, I said the same thing on the podcast, the early bird. That yeah, if Mitchell Robinson somehow gets to 24, 25 minutes, you're in good shape.
I
You're in
assume
real
he's
good
kind
shape.
of chalky whenever that ownership comes out.
Yeah,
Not like
I
chalky,
get
but like people are seeing the same thing.
right. So Kadeem Allen played one oh wait, no. Let's see. I just want to be sure here. Kadeem Allen, Moutier. So they played 5 minutes there, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Played about 13 minutes with each other last game.
Okay. That's
So
more than I
maybe
would've
it isn't. So maybe it isn't insane if you had a couple of them in the same lineup.
No.
I mean, look, I'm not saying Kadeem Allen's a good play. Don't get me wrong. Just more so that if you're looking for dirt cheap value, I do think it's very possible he could get to 25 minutes here.
Yeah, I don't think that's outlandish, especially if Knox ends up out.
Yeah.
Are you getting any Damian Dotson or Hazonia?
I
mean, Dotson's going to play 40 minutes if Knox is out.
I'm not. No.
Okay.
I got a tiny bit of Hazonia.
Okay. I have a little bit of both. Nothing that on either site too. Hazonia at 4,100 on FanDuel, I think, is kind of appealing. Well,
yeah, I don't have
not
any
appealing, but you know what I mean.
The whole Kevin Knox thing is pretty huge, right? I mean, if he's out, then this totally different. This team would be Moutier, Kadeem Allen, John Jenkins, who's playing very sparingly off the bench, Dotson. Then you'd have Hazonia, Thomas. That's 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ellenson, 7. Cornette, 8. Is Hicks playing? Nope. Hicks isn't playing. I don't even know if he's up. So you have 8. And then 9 is Jordan, 10 Robinson. You'd be down to 10 overall.
Yeah. This team sucks. Oh, God. I'm not fond of this, but I am fond of the opposite side of this game.
Talk to me, baby.
Yeah. So when we didn't get a lot of ownership in these first couple games, this is where it landed. 73% Pascal Siakam on FanDuel, 55 on DK. 81% Lowry on FanDuel, 65 on DK. 50% Marc Gasol on both sites. 40% Fred VanVleet on DraftKings. 23% Danny Green at 3,900 on FanDuel. These guys are a different team when Kawhi Leonard is not on the floor. It's massive, and everything points in Toronto's direction for this. I didn't even give Kyle Lowry crazy minutes. I gave him 30, and I can't get him out of my lineups. I want every part of Toronto.
Yeah, I have 0 Toronto exposure today.
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I was like, Jesus, man, we might as well quit. I wouldn't even have known how that could be a case. I'd have been like, you didn't update anything for Kawhi.
I just wanted to see. Yeah. It's like, oh wait, I have Tuesday's slate up. Now I obviously okay with Lowry. Let's actually break this down for a second. I also have him at 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Now I think that's pretty realistic.
Yeah.
He is. It's tough to say because some of these games have been total blowouts. One of them, he got injured midway through. I think that was the Knicks game. It was because I had him and he got hurt and he only played 26 minutes, but he would have gotten more. I'm pretty sure he would have got the 30. 28 in a close game against Charlotte and then 21 against Chicago, but they had that game in hand the whole time. Why 28 against Charlotte? Charlotte. Was there a reason that I didn't catch on that? Can't see everything, and that was one where I think I just missed.
I honestly don't know.
Because
he hasn't been right lately, so.
I only say that because, yes, I have him at 30 minutes, but, I mean, it might be low. Because here's what I'm saying.
I'm happy that I don't have to change it. I got 80% of him on FanDuel at, he's 6,800 on both sites without Kawhi Leonard.
I know, it's crazy.
He's the best player of the slate, right?
Oh, he's definitely up. Yeah, he's definitely up there. I just think
outside of like him literally getting injured, it's really hard to kill you at that price tag.
Yeah, actually, you know what? This has got to just be Nick Nurse saying, "Look, it's your first game back after that another minor injury. We're just going to limit you."
Yeah, I mean, they have McCaw, they have Lynn, they have Van Vliet back now handling. Like, they have people that can handle the ball. Siakam as a secondary creator, so.
Yeah, 30 minutes makes the most sense here. They certainly don't need him. They don't need him in this game. They shouldn't need him in this game. You at least wouldn't think so. Any more than 30 is a little bit scary. And the reason this game is so insane, Josh, the Raptors are 12-point road favorites without Leonard.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's a testament to how bad the Knicks are.
That's crazy. So, Kyle Lowry, do you have a good amount of Van Vliet? Because I certainly do on DraftKings.
40%.
Okay. And then Siakam is another one here where his per minute rates aren't like out of control without Lowry, but he's just been so good lately. He's still not overpriced. He's facing the Knicks. I'm not sure there's nothing not to like about Siakam here. The only concerns here is that Nick Nurse is like, okay, the postseason's coming up. We're going to put you guys on ice to close out the game, but I don't see that being a concern at all with Siakam, and that's assuming it's a blowout anyway. Who knows? It's at Madison Square Garden. We don't know what's going to happen.
No.
However, I think where we do differ is on Marc Gasol.
Okay, hit me.
I
gave him 26 minutes, so let's start there.
So I have him around just shy of 30 fantasy points.
I have him at 33.
Right. So that I only got a couple Marc Gasol lineups. Well, I should say a few Marc Gasol lineups. Center only, no power forward eligibility. I get it at that price point. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like I think Marc Gasol is not capable of putting up big numbers, but I have him at just shy of 1.2 fantasy points per minute.
I've got 1.28.
Oh, well, that's okay. That's why we're different then, yeah.
These guys have just been like every single person is insane when Kawhi Leonard is not on the floor. It's crazy. You would not expect Kawhi, who is like, at least the way that I picture him in basketball, not a guy that is dramatically taking away from everybody else.
Well, he's a high usage guy. He's a 30+% usage player.
Yeah, but he's not. But he never feels like a guy that's like trying to get his. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
Like, obviously, Kawhi Leonard being on the floor is going to take away from the Raptors. I understand that, but like, I feel like he's the type of guy that takes away less than most.
I think it might be because he doesn't bring the ball up the court as much.
Probably. And then when he comes off the floor, it's like everybody else gets like a 25% boost to every one of their rates.
Right. You might be right. You might be right. I might be a bit low on Marc Gasol, but we'll see. How many minutes do you have, Matt? You said
26.
Oh, you got him at 26 minutes.
Yeah. What do you have, a 24-24 split?
25, yeah.
Okay.
But a 24 split in this specific game would not surprise me whatsoever.
Just a massive rebounding rate for him. It's so hard to not want to have a ton of these Raptors.
Yeah.
They're fantastic.
Siakam is obviously in a premier spot.
Yeah.
Power forward actually has a lot of good players today. I was surprised. But Yeah, Siakam obviously a very strong play here, and Lowry and Van Vliet. How many are you playing? How many are you willing to play? By the way, since the trade deadline, Siakam 257 minutes with Leonard off the court, 1.35 fantasy points per minute on DraftKings,
Yeah, that's insane.
29% usage, 15% rebounding, 21% assists. Very, very, very solid numbers there.
And I have him at less than all of those numbers you just said, and got him in 55 or 70% of my lineups, depending on the slate. So
Per minute, you have him at
1.28 on FanDuel, so it's probably like 1.3 on
yeah
the dot. DK,
1 point what on the dot? You
I
said
would guess 1.3. It's
yeah.
I have him for 0.5 of a point more on DraftKings.
And what about minutes?
34.
34. Yeah, that sounds about reasonable to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel very comfortable having. I would say 3 Raptors would be like the most that I would have. I think that you can make a case for 4 just because of how low Van Vliet's price is on DraftKings, but I don't really see the need to do it. I would just want to
Right.
rotate through the 3 of 4 on that one.
Well, if you're projecting Siakam upwards of like 44 fantasy points, which is what I'm assuming you are, then you're going to have a
44.2.
ton of it.
Yeah, I
What?
do. 55%.
Yeah.
The impact of not having Kawhi Leonard on this team and a matchup against the Knicks is really hard to overstate.
It is. I think we can move on. I mean, we pretty much covered both of these. It is even the Knicks, though. Sometimes bad teams and tough matchups can have value. Case in point would be the Bulls. Yesterday was not a good spot, but you were crazy if you weren't playing Shaq Harrison and Wayne Selden.
Yeah.
Even
Sometimes it's really
Blakely
that
didn't.
easy.
Dude, honestly, I had Blakely, Selden, and Harrison in almost every lineup. I kept trying to figure out ways to not do it, and every time I did, I'm like, this just isn't optimal at all. There's nothing optimal about it with them at this price. Not playing at least 2 or 3 of them, honestly.
Yeah, sometimes it's the obvious play is the right play because there's just no alternative. Like when you run out of bodies.
Gosh, I forgot to play the Powerball last night. $768 million.
Somebody win it?
They did.
Fuck them.
And it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
If it was, you know what would have happened if it was me?
You wouldn't be on the show right now, I can tell you that much.
Not so much, no. Not so much. I'd already be on an island right now, and I would never play DFS again. I would probably never see a sport again.
You'd have bought a $30,000 mattress.
Yeah. I can't imagine how expensive my mattress would have to be if I became a 750 millionaire.
Right? God, that's crazy, isn't it, man?
I get nervous about the lottery.
I've said before, though, that I wouldn't want to win that much money, and people are like, you're an idiot. Of course you would. Here's the thing. Pennsylvania is a state where you have to disclose that you won.
Yeah. And there's a lot of crazy people in Pennsylvania.
A lot of crazy people everywhere. But if I was in a state where I didn't have to disclose it, that's a beautiful thing. Like, where you can anonymously win the lottery.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Like, I'm like, okay, so when I win the lottery, I'm going to really be in trouble.
Yeah.
No, but hypothetically.
Way to plan that out, man.
Exactly. But hypothetically speaking, tell me you wouldn't rather live in one where you could win anonymously. Yeah. I'm not bragging about it. I didn't do anything right. All I did was spend money and gamble on a ticket. I don't want anybody outside of my wife to know who that I want.
Yeah, I don't even want my friends to know.
I don't even want my wife to know.
That way I can cut loose a lot of the dead weight in my life.
Right.
I'm never going to see these people again.
Don't tell us. You start making a whole lot of new friends when you win money like that.
Yeah, if I have $500 million, I'm going to know Pascal Siakam.
No. You took that the wrong way. I'm saying people start coming back around that you haven't heard from in a long while.
Oh, yeah. They'll never get in contact with me. That's fine. I've been ignoring those people for a while now, and I don't have the millions.
Sure. But they might try a bit harder.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, you remember when I lent you that lunch money in 11th grade? Yeah. So I was thinking that was $5 with interest. I don't know, 50,000. How's that sound,
And I'll be like,
buddy?
I don't know. I can pay enough
Pal?
money to make you disappear.
Yeah.
How
Nah,
about we just
screw
call
that,
it even
man.
and I let you still be alive?
What
Because at
are you talking
750
about?
million, I think that I can live my life like I'm in Red Dead.
Talking about hiring hitman?
Yeah.
That's hilarious,
Where's Arthur Morgan at?
right? Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, let's get out of here. We've been going for an hour. I would like to end at 11 so that I can at least like breathe
Let's go,
before we
dude.
go
Come
live.
on, let's go. We're good.
It's my fault.
No, we're good. Let's do it.
Rockets and Nuggets. Rockets 111.5 implied total. Nuggets 106.5. Great basketball game. I desperately want to watch it. It is not that appealing from a fantasy perspective. I don't have anything more than Chris Paul at 8% on DraftKings on either site for either team.
Okay, so I will have a decent amount of Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Cool, that's not this game.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, man. It's the other 8 o'clock game. It's the my fault.
We're good.
I should have noticed by the Chris Paul. You know what makes it worse is the fact that Houston just played Milwaukee. So in my head, I was like, "Oh yeah, Houston, Milwaukee." All right then. Then I have pretty much similar answer as you.
Yeah.
Chris Paul, I have 8%.
Yep.
8%. But I do have some James Harden. Now, as far as Jokic goes, nothing there. You know, would I ever blame anyone for wanting to play Jokic? No, of course not. Not at this price. But you have Embiid, and then I got guys below him and Drummond and Vooch. It's going to be really tough. I know you have a bunch of Marc Gasol, which makes it even more difficult. He's only center eligible.
Yeah.
No, I can't get. I'm really getting to no one. I think I have 1 or 2% Millsap. Outside of that, on Houston, James Harden is always in play as a spectacular basketball player and the most unstoppable force in the world. So I do have about around 20% Harden, which if I'm going stars scrubs makes it pretty easy. And a little bit of Chris Paul. As far as Clint Capella goes, I did get some Clint Capella here, but not a lot. And I'm just not a huge Clint Capella guy. But 7,100's very reasonable given that in this game, I expect him to get around 35, 36 minutes.
I didn't get to any Capella. I only have him in for 33. I feel like that's very wrong.
No, you might be right. I don't know. In close game, I have him at 35, but I don't think 33 is crazy at all.
No, he's playing more than that today if this game is close.
You would think, right?
I mean, I'm bumping him to 35.
You would think this is a good game too. Like I know you said you desperately want to watch this, but from a playoff implication standpoint, it's not a crazy thought that so the Rockets win this game, they're 2 games back in the win column. That's weird. They have 5 more losses than Denver.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But only 3 less wins. So look, Harden, Paul is too cheap. But you know how much Paul are you really going to get when you have Lowry there with Leonard out? You know,
right.
So
not that easy. Yeah, I'll watch it, but it's not a really good fantasy game.
I think the Bucks Clippers game is going to be a really fun game to watch as well.
Well, I know how bad you want to talk about Giannis, so let's just get to it. Bucks 120.5 implied total. Clippers 112. 8.5 point favorites for Milwaukee. This is a quick one. Pace up spot. Bucks are a good defense. Clippers are functionally fine. I don't have as much as I would have expected from this game. I got 10% Giannis on FanDuel. I don't really have him on DK. I've got some Bledsoe. Got quite a bit of Middleton at 7K on FanDuel. He's $200 cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DK. So I like to get to Middleton here more than I like anything else. But Giannis, Bledsoe, Middleton are the trio for me.
Okay, interesting. The Clippers are one of those teams that is going to struggle as far as points in the paint go. You know, on the season, they're allowing the 7th most points in the paint. Since the trade deadline, they're allowing the 6th most points in the paint. As we know, that is somewhere that Giannis leads the entire league.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that to me is a pretty big deal there. And when you're talking about transition scoring, it's a fast-paced game. There's just a lot to like here. I mean, assuming it stays close, and really the Clippers, yeah, they're 8.5-point dogs, but they've played great basketball, man. They've been great. So I expect this game to be competitive. I'm not going to project it for anything other than that, which means that as far as Antetokounmpo's minutes go, I'm putting him at 33 right now, and per minute, I have him through the roof as he should be in this spot. Especially again, who's gonna guard? Who's going to clog that paint up? Who's gonna keep him from getting to the rim, Josh?
No one. No one ever
Right?
does.
No, exactly. And then in this matchup, it's not like, dude, Harrell's a great high energy hustle guy, but he is not a stopper. Like, Harrell's not an elite defender.
No, he's the opposite.
Right. Gallinari. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a really big game from Giannis here.
No, I mean, I have him projected for 60 fantasy points, 1.76 per minute over 34 minutes. Like, he grades out really, really well. Might have to take a look at my my value equation. I think that might be just pushing up the bottom a little bit further than I needed to.
Do you have anything from by the way, for Milwaukee? On another day, guys like Brolo would be pretty interesting, but not today.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today.
As Josh would say, trace amounts of Bledsoe, but again, you have Kyle Lowry there, and there's a lot in that range. You also have Fred VanVleet. Point guard's got a good amount of depth to it. I don't have any Middleton. That's pretty much it.
I think Middleton looks really good on FanDuel.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I was talking DraftKings, but yes, 7K on FanDuel is pretty solid.
Yeah, it's just like for a shooting guard. I mean, you're either paying that or 7,400 for someone like Buddy Hield. Jimmy Butler's 8,500. Like DeMar DeRozan is 8,800. D'Angelo Russell's 9,500. So I feel a little bit more comfortable getting to Middleton there.
Does Pat Connaughton keep playing 30 minutes?
I got him in for 27. He might.
Yeah.
I mean, the price is creeping up now too, so I don't need the fifth option on the Bucks.
No, you really don't. I'd rather just go with my man Sterling Brown.
There you go.
No, not getting there either.
Now price is up on FanDuel there as well, 4,200.
26 minutes last game. Sterling Brown, huh? Yeah. Pace up spot though. I mean, this game's going to have a lot of scoring.
Yeah, I have very little, and again, like my ownership is so concentrated at the top now that I don't have a ton of spread. And that.
Do you have a cap set?
No.
Nothing at all? Who's your highest owned player, and what percent did you get him at?
I assume it's Kyle Lowry. Let me look.
Okay, I thought you had it pulled up.
I mean, I do. I just have to sort the table. Kyle Lowry, 65.
Okay, 65%. No one came in higher than Lowry, right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, 65 Lowry, 55 Siakam, 55 Moutier are the top three.
All right. But yeah, 232.5 total here. Are you on the Clippers at all?
Nope. Crazy, right?
Gallinari's been great, and I said the other day that like he's not a guy that's going to give you really ceiling games, and then he goes and drops 49. But I still think that's the exception to the rule. More times than not, you're going to get, the mid to high 30s. He's been very consistent. Has made for a great cash game play recently.
Sure.
I wouldn't blame you for playing him, who is a very solid 3-point shooter, shooting 44% from beyond the arc against the Bucks. No issues with that whatsoever. outside of that, though, I don't think I can make this work. I don't wanna pay that much for Lou,
No.
right?
I
Gallinari's
love him,
really
but that's just I don't need to pay 70 whatever 100 for Lou right now.
no. He'd be the only one. I mean, I guess we can have a conversation if Beverly is out and Landry Shamet are out, then you're starting to look at minutes that have to come from somewhere, and you could probably lock Lou in for like at least 30.
That's a really good point. You're going to need to keep a close eye on the Clippers. If one or both of those guys are out, it will really change the scope of this game.
For sure. In a big way.
Guys like, Garrett Temple gets opened up there, and not like you're going to be excited. Lou Will becomes immediately more interesting.
Big game for him too. Yeah. I mean, there's still a log jam in the West, and every win, every loss is huge.
It really is. So, yeah, keep an eye on the news because that's the biggest piece here. Now, we got another game where we could talk about a lot of exposure on my end. The New Orleans Pelicans hosting the Sacramento Kings. This is the best game on the slate from a fantasy perspective. 118 implied total for the Pelicans. Terrible defense. 120.5 for the Kings. Average defense, crazy pace. This one's going to be a track meet. I have the Pelicans at second in my pace rankings. The Kings are fifth. This one's going to be about as up and down as it gets. Monster implied totals on both teams. Second and third highest of the slate. God, I can't get away from it. Doesn't make me not scared, though. Like Julius Randle, for instance. 8,400 on FanDuel, 8,200 on DraftKings. I'm getting a lot of him. Like a lot. Okay. And he played 34 minutes last game. But now we've got to deal with this whole Christian Wood fiasco.
I'm getting pretty much like no Randle at all.
I assume you don't have him anywhere near 1.36 fantasy points per minute in this one?
I do. I have him less than 34 minutes is the thing, though.
Okay. That I can't argue with you on that one. I have no idea what to do with their front court.
Now, to be clear, that doesn't mean I feel confident in it. It just means that I would not be at all surprised to see Christian Wood play decent minutes here. Even if Anthony Davis gets his 21, Wood was spectacular against the Hawks. Yeah. I mean, he had 23 points, 9 rebounds, and assists, 6 blocks, 3 steals, and 53 fantasy points in 32 minutes. Now, is that sustainable? Obviously not. We don't even have a conversation about that, of course. However, if he gets 25 minutes, let's say 23 minutes, 22 minutes even.
I gave him 16.
Yeah, well, but I don't know what he gets. Is I mean.
No clue.
I have him at 20, but I took a few away from Randle. Is that wise? Maybe not. But also with Randle at this price point being up a little bit, it's not up, but he's not cheap. I don't hate not having a lot of him. It is definitely a situation that I'm uncomfortable with. So while, yes, this game could easily be the best for fantasy purposes, Christian Wood makes things more difficult than it should have to be. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I don't like it. It's priced up now. 5,500 on FanDuel. I probably don't get to him one way or the other.
Yeah, that's kind of wild, right?
4,100 on DraftKings. Like, I'm going to need him to project for a lot of minutes.
If I project him I would get about 22 fantasy points from him at 20 minutes.
Yeah. And that's just kind of like whatever at 4,100.
Wow. The cruncher projections, like that have him at 28.
Yeah, that's hopefully. If they don't change, you're gonna know that he's going to be chalky just by seeing that, and I won't.
That's crazy. I mean,
unless they name him a starter, I won't have a single share.
I don't. It's just very difficult because we do not know or have any idea what his minutes are going to look like.
No. With Anthony Davis being in, I think that really muddies up the water for any possible way to like him. unless they say he is now starting.
Well, yeah. Yes
Like
and no.
I gave Jahlil Okafor no minutes.
Well, if you gave Okafor no minutes and Randall played 34 last game and Christian Wood last game played 32, was it? 31, 32?
Yeah.
Davis could play 21.
Yep.
You take away Okafor's, what did he play? 8 or something last game? You
He
take
played 8, yes.
Yeah. You take away his 8. Chick Diallo played 19.
Yeah.
It is
That's probably the spot that's in flux.
It's possible. It's very possible that even with Davis coming and take 11 away from Wood off the top, say.
Well, here, I mean,
Okay.
let's do it like this. If Okafor was at 8 and we're adding Davis, then what Wood is losing is 12. And 12 off of his 32 is 20.
Right. That's why I have him at 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think that's super reasonable.
Yeah. So it makes sense, but also that's assuming Okafor doesn't see the court.
Yeah.
And we don't know. We're guessing. Does it make sense that Okafor would not play? Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible, but that's just a guess.
Yep.
Flat out guess. So.
I bumped Wood up to 20 minutes. He's like a fine-ish value on DK and unplayable on FanDuel still.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
I think here's where I'm at. Actually, I should probably mention this. This is where I stand on Christian Wood. If we get, do we have ownership yet?
No.
Okay. If we get ownership and Christian Wood is chalk, I will have none. If Christian Wood is completely off the board, not considered, there's no ownership at all, I will probably have some Christian Wood. And the only reason for that is it is the Kings. It is the highest total game of the slate. And there is a very real possibility at the end of the season here that Gentry gives him more minutes than either of us are expecting.
It wouldn't shock me. I mean, he could play 30 minutes for the rest of the season.
Yep. Ownership will play heavily here. If he's popular, I want nothing to do with Christian Wood.
No, not at all. Speaking of things that we have a lot of in this game, we do want to point out Frank Jackson's out. So right now I've got quite a bit of Elfrid Payton on FanDuel at 7,500. Not so much on DraftKings where he's $200 more expensive. I have quite a bit of Ian Clark at 3,700. That's going to be a tough one to get away from, I think. I only have him in for 28 minutes, but at 3,700, like, there aren't many more guards left.
I have him at 33 minutes, I think.
Yeah, then you must be getting him at an infinite amount.
Yeah, I have him at 33. Here's why. Clark got in early foul trouble last game. Frank Jackson came back in after a short stint on the bench. Then he got hurt. And then, of course, we saw Clark get more minutes as a result.
Yeah.
I very much expect Ian Clark to get a lot of minutes here. So I know we want to get out of here by 11. We're actually doing pretty decent.
I mean, we don't have to. That's just
no, I mean,
the
we're
goal
good.
time. We're
just reading off. Well, it's baseball, so I get it. Yeah. But with Frank Jackson, he played like 5 minutes, I think, in the third quarter, and 5 minutes in the third quarter. 5 minutes, and then Ian Clark came in. He had 3 quick fouls. Didn't come back in the third or in the second quarter. Sorry, but then Josh, he played 19 straight minutes to close out the game. 19 straight after Frank Jackson went down. So he was clearly the alternative there. He had been backing up Frank Jackson. So yeah.
I put Bertans back in the rotation. He got the DNP CD in the last game, but I gave him 14 minutes. So I can there's any amount more minutes I want to give to Ian Clark, I can do that via Bertans minutes. Like I said, I got to 30%, so I will use expected ownership as like my calibrator for that. If he's at like 30, I probably give Clark 2 more minutes and take them from Bertans and get ahead of him because I think he's a really good play. But I don't want to give him the 2 minutes now. Find out he's at 12% and find out that I got 94.
Yeah, right. No, I hear you.
But yeah, I mean, he looks like a fantastic punt on DraftKings today.
Yeah, I would be shocked if he played fewer than 30, but Alvin Gentry's done crazier things.
Yeah, there's no telling with this team anymore.
Do you have any Stanley Johnson?
I hopefully never. Yeah, no, I don't have any. I gave him 18 minutes. I have a lot of Darius Miller on FanDuel. 3,700. He could be in line for a decent amount of minutes. Fine punt in an up and down game.
You know, I don't think so. Elfrid Payton is what, 7,700, and he's probable.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of him?
On FanDuel, I do.
Because DraftKings, I got a lot less than I would have originally suspected.
He's $200 more expensive on DK than he is on FanDuel.
Oh, here comes mattress in a box, my dude.
There you go.
Yeah, I know. Like Frank Jackson, I don't think makes a huge difference here. He's not a ball handler. You know, Ian Clark can come in. Yes, he'll take fewer shots, but it's not a huge difference.
You want to talk about Sacramento?
Sure.
I have 40% Buddy Hield right now. 7,400 on FanDuel, 7,100 on DraftKings. Got a ton of Harrison Barnes on FanDuel. Got a ton of B Jelly on FanDuel. Less Black. A little bit of Bagley, but nothing crazy. His price is getting to a point where he's a little higher than he should be. But this game is just so damn appealing. What's standing out for you from Sacramento?
Yeah, not a lot. I'm serious on Sacramento.
Okay. That was like, were you going back to that same gimmick?
No. I wouldn't play that twice now. Come on. Okay, Buddy Hield. Yes. I like Buddy Hield a lot. De'Aaron Fox. I'm not getting
I agree with you, by the way.
On Fox.
I do.
Yeah, Fox are just not getting that. And here's a reason for that. I'm still going to project them for good minutes, but we saw, number one, Jaeger on the road. I am a little worried that these minutes will start coming down. Fox played 27 in a close game against the Lakers and then 32 in a close road game against the Mavericks. Hield played 30 and 35. So where you saw Fox's minutes go up 5 minutes in that game, Hield's went up 5 minutes, but Hield seems to have a higher minute floor than Fox. And to me, that it's been that way. And we've seen that recently as well. So I definitely prefer Hield over Fox. And point guard just has a million players. And then Marvin Bagley, I think you get a pretty decent bounce back performance here. He was terrible, at least from a fantasy point standpoint, against Dallas. But if he gets upwards of 30 minutes again, Bagley can put up huge numbers here against New Orleans. Bagley's the type of guy that if it depends what you're projecting him for, but if you're giving him 29, 30, 31 minutes, you're probably going to have him projected for close to, probably 38, 40 fantasy points. I don't have any Willie Cauley-Stein or anybody like there either.
No, it's just, this is mostly FanDuel for me. Lots of Bielitsa 5,100 position. Barnes the same reason. Buddy Hield on FanDuel. I mean, Hield is the only guy I really have on DK. I got 10% Fox, 10% Bagley. How much Hield on DraftKings did you get? 45.
Okay. But so you don't have a lot of Kings exposure on DraftKings either then?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
FanDuel's pretty aggressive, and it should be because Barnes and Bogdanovich are priced.
No question. I totally
ridiculous there.
100% agree with that.
Yeah, we're on the same page from a DK perspective. You ready to close it out with the late night hammer of all late night hammers?
Let's do it.
Late night hammer at 8:30 p.m. tonight, I believe. If my schedule is right, which it doesn't necessarily have to be. The San Antonio Spurs, 115.5 implied total. Fantastic defense. 102.5 implied total for the Cavs. Fantastically bad defense. 13-point favorites here for San Antonio. Slow spot, but some of this pricing is really advantageous, and it's a great matchup. So I have 12% Aldridge on FanDuel, 23 on DK. I've got 28% DeRozan on FanDuel, 30 on DK. And I have 10% and 15% of Gay and White on DraftKings, where they're just way too cheap. How do you feel about the Spurs here against the Cavs?
I'll tell you what, man. I got a decent amount of the San Antonio Spurs today.
As you should.
Don't feel great about it because it's not a team that I love.
No.
Just from a fantasy standpoint. Like Rudy Gay, I got a good amount of Rudy Gay here, and that's only projecting him for 28 minutes.
Yeah, I have him at 26, and I got to 10%, so I do need to take a closer look. Their rotations are so hard to predict.
I know. I got more than I'll tell you. I got more than 10% by a decent amount at 28 minutes.
Yeah, I would too.
But it's tough because I don't know. He played 32, then 21, then 22, then 32.
Yeah,
like there's really no telling here.
No, I mean that's pop. Like he's gonna put the guys out there as he sees fit.
I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna move it to 27.
Yeah,
because then I get pretty much right in the middle of what we've been seeing him play. I mean, that's kind of the best I can do with it. You know, there's no real other way to project it. Right, you can't. We don't know what he's gonna play. So 27 seems about reasonable. I got some Jakob Pirtle too, and I think a couple reasons. One, he is very, very inexpensive on DraftKings. He's $4,000. I don't like that he's center only, but you know he had been playing 25 minutes. There were 2 games where he didn't, but then he played 25 and 20. If you project Pirtle for 23 minutes, you're gonna get you'll end up on a little bit. I think I had 10% here, which I don't have an issue with.
Yeah.
Around 17% Aldridge and 17% DeRozan, which I'm okay with. I like him. I got a lot of Derek White though, Josh.
I got 15%. I'm pretty happy there. I have him in for 27 minutes.
What about how many fantasy points per minute on White?
Not as many as I'm comfortable with, but 1.01. I'm a little light here.
Right. I have him a little higher than that. And I had him at 28 minutes. So that would be why. He had been playing 32, 28, 29. So I pretty much just went the lower range of that. Makes me.
What did you give him?
Hey, by the way, remember I said that his shooting he'd regress, not shoot 6 or 8 every game, and he just kept doing it. Well, he has seen some regression here. He shot 0 for 10 last game, then 2 for 7, 1 for 8, 5 for 12. And that makes him a little less appealing. You said how many? What did I give him?
Minutes.
28. 28 minutes.
Okay, I have him at 27.
Yeah. But overall, yeah, I do like this game for the Spurs.
Yes.
And I generally don't have this much Spurs exposure.
Nor do I. And I don't have any exposure to the Cavs outside of a little bit of Chetty on DK. It's a bad spot for Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't think. Do I have anything for Cleveland? I don't think so, man. And I'm very, very satisfied with that. I got a Larry Nance lineup or 2.
Well, you said you have a Larry Nance lineup or 2?
No, I have more than that. I think
I have a Larry Nance lineup.
Do you?
Yeah.
I have about 5%. He's played 30 minutes in back-to-back games. He is getting good run.
Yeah.
So
I only gave him 28 because I just don't trust this team. But
yeah, I gave him 30. But still, it's not like he's gonna pop.
No, not at all.
And the Spurs defense, remember I mentioned this to you the other day? The Spurs defense at home has been wonderful. Like crazy good. compared to or at least top 8, I think. On the road, they've been bottom 5 all season long. That is a huge difference.
Yeah, I have them right now third best defense in the league over everyone's last 15 games from a fantasy perspective.
Okay.
They're good.
They are. I will say, though, if there was ever a game that's over by halftime, this could certainly be it.
Yeah, like I don't get the sense that like at home, they're going to come out all sloppy and stuff. So they should handle their business here. And no one should watch this because it's at 8:30 and it's garbage.
God, Aldridge has been playing monster minutes.
Yeah.
Huge minutes.
I have him in for 37 here.
Do you really?
I do.
I put him in for 35 and still get a lot.
Yeah. It's a great. I mean, that's what happens when you play the Cavs.
Ain't that right?
Oh, God. 8-gamer today.
Would you set a rule on playing more than two Spurs together?
I would say 3.
That's where
if I had White, DeRozan, Aldridge, I wouldn't be too upset. Their prices are low enough.
Yeah.
I might be more likely to set that on FanDuel than DraftKings. They're not
DraftKings,
advantageously priced.
I still wouldn't want more than 3 on DraftKings. I mean, not on a slate. Not on a slate like this. Even 3
I don't ever want more than 3 Spurs in a lineup.
Right. Even 3 gets me a little bit concerned, given that we have a few other really appealing games. You know.
Yeah.
OG Anunoby's questionable now. By the way, just throwing that out there before we close this out, Josh. I'm done after this, I promise. But because if he happens to sit, you could see Norman Powell play a lot of minutes in this game.
It's going to get kind of crazy if OG ends up being out. And I already like the Raptors a ton, so it's only going to get worse.
Yep, I think Powell would probably get a lot of run.
Yeah, he's going to have to.
Yep.
8 games in the books. We got a big day for the rest of it. Live before lock, baseball coming up in 23 minutes. Myself and EMAC talking all of this opening day slate for about 90 minutes. There's an early deep dive out already from Adam. We'll have another one for the 4 o'clock games coming up a little bit later. And then
who's writing that one?
I think still Adam.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. He's all over it.
Son.
I know.
That'll be out about 50 minutes after lock.
That might be true.
I'm kidding.
And then for the rest of the day, it'll look pretty normal to everything else. We'll have the normal NBA deep dive show as per usual. No late night baseball today. And live before lock, probably the final time for me. Myself and Fast Eddie Fear, taking you all the way up to 7 o'clock.
Make it a good one.
We're gonna have a lot of solo Eddie NBA shows coming up because we got a lot of baseball overlap. So tune in for Eddie. That's all I got, man. Anything else?
No, man. Happy opening day. Let's have some fun and win some money.
Let's do it, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Stick around. The link is already on the YouTube channel. But if you want to talk baseball, EMAC and I will be back in 20 minutes. Adios.